What is up, Bat Family? Welcome to Batman Theory, where we take a deep dive into comic books, movies, cartoons, and everything in between that has to do with the Dark Knight. So guys, in today's episode, I want to go back to the Marvel Universe with Batman, and I want to kind of elaborate more on what his villains would be like. What would his arch nemesis, in particular, the Joker, be like in this universe?
And here we go.
Now, a lot of people talk about how the Joker and Spider-Man's arch-villain, the Green Goblin, are very similar. I gotta be honest, I do see some similarities here, and we'll go over them, but I also see a lot of differences. I do see a potential, though, for a team-up, which would force Batman and Spider-Man to team up as well. I think it would make a really interesting story, and again, we're basing this off of Part 1 and Part 2 of our videos with Batman in the Marvel Universe. So that being said, I'll give you a quick overview of what we've already gone through. So we have Wayne Williams is our new Batman and the Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe. He has literal powers like Man-Bat does in the DC world, where he can transform into this Batman. He has powers of flight, super strength, the ability to lift 10 plus tons. He's got superior reflexes. He's got sonic hearing and super healing. Oh, by the way, he also does have full control of these Man-Bat powers. So he's not like Man-Bat where he's this hulking, raging beast. He is fully in control of what he is doing and who he is. We've also established that this takes place in the 1970s New York City in the Marvel timeline. So New York City is a very crime-ridden time in the 70s, so this is where we take place. So the Joker in the Marvel Universe has often been talked about, and I think a lot of people like to compare Green Goblin and Joker because they both are the arch nemesis of their counterparts. So Joker is Batman's arch nemesis, and the Green Goblin is Spider-Man's nemesis. Now, I actually would argue, if you go back through the comics, Spider-Man and Green Goblin have their peak for comics as rivals in the 70s before Green Goblin is killed off. So I would actually say this is a perfect time to really introduce Batman and the Joker in this timeline. So aside from being arch rivals for their superheroes, I would say they have a couple other things. They both love wearing the color purple. They both use a huge variety amount of silly weapons. You got Joker gas, Joker toxin, the playing cards for Joker. Meanwhile, the Green Goblin has goblin smoke. He's got pumpkin bombs. He uses his glider. So it's and they both honestly make a lot of quips and are kind of menacingly insane. Now, the one argument can be made that Joker was always insane, where Green Goblin was turned insane after an experiment. Now, I would actually say both were kind of turned insane depending on what Joker background you go with. I prefer we don't really know what happened, but we know he was at one time the Red Hood, fell into the Ace chemical vat, and became Joker. Now, so the argument there is they both, after a tragic accident, became who they were and became insane. So there's yet another similarity. And last but not least, they both have a sick, twisted face and also share a very weird grudge against their opponents. The Joker constantly wants to torment Batman and his family, and targets Batman's family specifically. Let's not forget what happened to Jason Todd. Joker specifically does that. In the DC animated universe, he goes after Tim Drake instead and holds him for an entire year and turns him into his little mini Joker. Meanwhile, the Green Goblin is targeted multiple times. He's targeted Peter's aunt and Mary Jane, and let's not forget what happened to Gwen Stacy in the comic books and in the movies. So both of these characters have attacked close ones to the superheroes, so I really do like the similarities we have here. Now, what would we get with Joker in the Marvel Universe? I think you'd see that if Joker crossed paths with someone like Punisher, he'd be dead within the first issue, maybe a couple issues later. The reason that Batman and Joker are so famous together is because Joker's just a human. So anytime Batman wanted to, and Batman could kill him. I think this Batman eventually will cross that path. He will get that dark when the Joker attacks one of his family members. But for the time being, he does not kill. He just wants to do good in the world. So what we see here is this Joker was not created by Batman like we see in the normal comics. In this Marvel universe, the Joker actually was the assistant to Norman Osborn during his studies at Oscorp. Both during experimental study were exposed to the formula which enhanced their physical abilities. So this Joker didn't get any super strength, didn't get anything like the Green Goblin did. His abilities were enhanced where he became essentially even more insane than the Green Goblin. He became more insane than even the Joker we see in most DC continuities. Think more like Joker in Death of the Family rather than Joker in Death of a Family. there's a big difference there because you have crazy Joker and death of a family, but you have absolutely batshit crazy, wearing someone else's face crazy Joker and death of the family. And I think this is what you get here. I think that experimental formula would absolutely drive him insane. Whereas Norman Osborn is shown to be sane and insane at different times. When he's Green Goblin, he is in his bouts of insanity. And when he's Norman, he has his bouts of sanity. It's kind of almost like a schizophrenic episode he has when he becomes the Green Goblin. Whereas Joker permanently becomes Joker. So what happens is Norman was exposed to the entire gas explosion all at once, where his assistant, Joseph Kerr, was his lab technician and was meters away before it exploded. When it did explode, he was introduced to the gas in a much less severe way, thus driving him insane but not giving him any supernatural powers. And Green Goblin likes to team up with characters such as, Doctor Doom, the Kingpin, Doc Ock, and others like that. So I could honestly see him and the new Joker teaming up to take down Batman and Spider-Man together. In this universe, think of Batman in the Marvel Universe as something akin to the 1990s Gargoyles animated series, where he's fully in control of his powers, but he can transform back into a human anytime he wants. And think of this Joker as a just really sick and twisted version of the normal Joker. He is absolutely nuts. And it gets to the point where during one of their encounters, even Green Goblin becomes a little scared of him because he is just that far gone. But we're here for the first encounter. And their very first encounter is Joker is at a bank. He walks in with his face partially covered. He then walks up to the teller, puts out a note that says, "I want all your money, do not call the police." He then unveils his face, squirts the lady with Joker acid, killing her, and then throws a couple Joker bombs that release Joker gas throughout the entire bank. As I end this episode, before we get to part 4, the whole bank is filled with laughter of people laughing hysterically from the Joker gas as they slowly suck away their last breath. So thanks for watching, guys. Part 3 of What If Batman Was in Marvel. We'll go through what would happen when Batman and Spider-Man inevitably team up to take down people like Green Goblin and Joker on part 4. I'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.